Good morning, all. This is Jack from Charting the Markets, and this is the Bigger Picture webinar for the morning of Wednesday, the 17th of June. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm going to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own shots. I'm not here to shoot trading signals. This is a video for paying subscribers at ctmthebiggerpicture.substack.com. It's published on YouTube after a delay of a week. All right, great. Okay, what are we looking at on ES? Well, obviously, all the head and shoulders failed. We have broken higher. We saw the gap up, which failed the head and shoulders on Monday morning, and we made the initial double bottom target on ES, and I think we are forming a likely bull flag to go up and do the rest of the target, which is a retest of the all-time high, which is the target you get when you get a head and shoulders which is broken down and which has failed. We're looking at exactly the same thing on NQ. Slightly more vigorous flag forming. I'm thinking might well make a lower low within that flag today, and then we're likely going to be looking at a retest of the high. Will that be done by tomorrow night? Because obviously that is the end of the trading week. I think so, or at least a reasonably good chance of that. So it's possible this might go into next week. And just to mention now, next week we have a bullish leading day on Monday, neutral Tuesday, bullish leading day on Wednesday, which is the first day of the new month. We will see. Actually, no, I tell a lie. What we're looking at for next week is neutral Monday and Tuesday, bearish Wednesday, neutral Thursday, and neutral Friday. So neutral to bearish lean for next week. So I'd quite like to see the retest of the high done on Friday or at the latest on Monday. But I am expecting to see that. We would generally see that. We will see. Are there any possible alternatives? Yes, there are. Possibly, of course, we could form a bull flag here with an A, B, C. Am I expecting that? Not seeing any sign of it at the moment. All right, RTY, we've already gone back and retested the high. 60-minute weak 6-minute sell signal I was looking at yesterday morning has now reached the possible near miss target. NQ, we obviously had a 60-minute sell signal as well. That's reached a full target. On YM, we didn't have a sell signal. Here, we have already made the we had a target at the retest of the all-time high as well, and we've already made that target, and we are slightly over the obvious resistance trend lines. On DAX, I'm still thinking about a retest of the all-time high. ESDX, we've already seen it. We've got a weak 6-minute sell signal fixed there, and that hasn't reached the possible near miss target yet, because as you can see, it hasn't really gone down meaningfully. Nikkei, 6-minute sell signal fixed, and that hasn't quite reached the possible near miss target either. But again, we're still hanging around at the near the all-time highs, so we shall see. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. All right, looking at SPX, on the daily charts, obviously we are well over the daily middle band. I'm wondering whether we might see a back test of that as part of the bull flag that's currently forming. If so, that's currently in the 48.78 area, and if we see that today, I'd really be thinking that is a buy. That would be about 33 handles down from the high yesterday. Sorry, from the low yesterday. So we short close yesterday rather. So we will see how that goes. But I'm expecting this to be a bull flag forming. I would expect that to hold, and then I would expect to see a retest of the all-time high. In terms of the hourly charts, we had an hourly RSI 14 buy signal that made target. 15 minutes, no current divergence. So you can see this looks rather like a flag at the moment. In terms of the Qs, again, we're seeing a bit of a retrace. Again, I'm thinking we may see a test of the back test of the daily middle band. I've got that at 724.45, and if we see that, then I'll be expecting that to make target. In terms of the RSI 5 buy signal that fixed, that has now reached the possible near miss target. I'm expecting it to reach the full target when we make the retest of the all-time high. In terms of the hourly chart, we had an RSI 14 buy signal there too. That has made targets. On the 15-minute chart, nothing on the RSI 14, but we do have an RSI 5 buy signal that is fixed. I am thinking though that we might go a little lower here, although I am hoping that it respects this this gap going down into about the 722 area. So I would prefer if that gap remained unfilled for now. In terms of Dyer, Dyer has already made new all-time highs. I'm drawing in actually the. Sorry, I'm just going to redraw this the way it should be. I don't think we're no longer looking at this as the anchor, because we've gone higher, and that would mean there were two potential overthrows here. Now, this isn't necessarily an overthrow. We may just be expanding into a new all-time high. So, sorry, a new resistance trend line, which isn't clear yet until we make the next high. But for the moment, I'm just treating that, and we're slightly over that. We're on an RSI 5 sell signal on the hourly chart, and on the 15-minute chart, no current divergence. But you can see I've drawn in the new trend line here, and that would stay slightly overthrowing, but it may well be it's going to go higher and just set up a new trend line. All right, let's have a look at IWM. And okay, on the daily chart, we've still got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed. I think, still got an RSI 14 sell signal fixed, and we've still got all the RSI 14 sell signals fixed on these various indices. On the hourly chart, no current divergence. I'm wondering about a move up into this resistance trend line currently in the 300 to 301 area. 15-minute chart, no current divergence. We will see, but we've already made the retest of the all-time highs on here. DAX, we saw a nice break up and confirmation over the daily middle band. We haven't made it up to the retest of the all-time high yet, and I'm leaning towards seeing that. Nikkei has already seen the retest of the all-time high, so we shall see. All right, great. Let's have a look at DX. Now, DX, we've got a double top which is broken down, but that's not making any significant progress towards the target, and it's possible, of course, it may fail. I was thinking that we would probably make this target while oil was heading off to the downside, but I think oil, the initial down move, may actually have finished, or at least be finishing. And it hasn't made any progress. I'm thinking we may actually see this fail back up into a retest of this high. Are we seeing much on the other currency pairs? Not an awful lot. Not a lot on Euro, not a lot on GBP. USD JPY has actually made the first double bottom target here, but I'm still expecting to see a retest of this high here in the 160.70 area. On USD CAD, still got a possible overthrow of a rising megaphone here. I'm not expecting, unless we see a big reversal back down on the dollar, which is possible. I'm not really expecting to see this continue developing. Australian dollar is back above the neckline, but a long way from failing the head and shoulders, and NZ is a long way from looking like a possible rejection of the double top that's broken down here. We've got a little double bottom here, but that has been making no progress to the upside and maybe failing. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger pictures. And no signals really anywhere. In fact, actually, the only place we had a signal was a daily RSI 5 sell signal on USD CAD, and that actually failed yesterday. We are back testing the daily middle band, and at the moment it's holding. It may continue to hold. USD, waiting to see, still kicking around the daily middle band there too. On GBP USD, we are again still kicking around the daily middle band, more or less closed on it yesterday. We are at a point of decision here, and at the moment I'm kind of leaning towards it, DX heading higher back up into the retest of the previous high. USD JPY still looking on the bigger picture for a retest of 162, but in the short term I'm still looking for a retest of 168.73. USD CAD, obviously the RSI 5 daily sell signal failed. We'll see. Do we have prospect for serious upside here? We've got a potential level bottom here. It's a little oversized, but not unduly so. Not really expecting to see that play out, but much depends on what happens as the fallout from this deal shakes out, the Iran deal shakes out. Australian dollar, no current divergence, possible double top setup, and NZ, not sure what's happening on the bigger picture. Might actually be a triangle forming. So we will see, but no divergence on the shorter term. All right, let's have a look at bonds. Now, bonds, we've got a potential nested double top here. Now, we're in an inflection point here because on the bigger picture, we've got, on the RTH charts, we've got head and shoulders breaking down on TYX, and we've got a big head and shoulders breaking up on, relatively big, not as big as some of the ones I've shown, but head and shoulders breaking up on TLC. This is suggesting we might be looking at a significant run up on bonds, but it's an inflection point. Obviously, head and shoulders can fail. That could just reject back into the lows on TLT and the highs on TYX. And this is what the inflection point looks like. And it looks like currently a nested double top suggesting a move down. Now, obviously, we either break up from here and continue the move up into the head and shoulder target, inverse head and shoulder target on TLT and the head and shoulder target on TYX, or we fail and those head and shoulder patterns fail. So this is the inflection point, and I'm watching to see a sustained break above this resistance level in about the 113.10 area. Looking at ZN, don't have the bigger double top here, but we do have the smaller one. 60-minute sell signals reached possible near miss target. ZB, it reached the full target. We shall see. All right, what does that look like on the bigger picture? Let's have a look. Okay, TYX. Here you can see the head and shoulders, which is broken down with a target in the 46.95 area, I think. And on TLT, I've marked it in. We've got an IHS, which is broken up with a target in the 89.5 area. This is, if this continues pushing higher on TLT and pushing lower on TYX, it wouldn't take an awful lot before I started leaning towards the head and shoulders, the inverted head and shoulders making target. So we're at an important inflection point here. What are the other indices telling us here? Well, TNX, we've got not a particularly nice head and shoulders here. Possible, but I'm not really looking at it, thinking hard about that being a pattern. In terms of the triangles here, I'm still leaning towards this being a retracement and heading up towards the triangle target. We've got another triangle breaking up on FBX. We've got another triangle breaking up on TLT. Sorry, no, that hasn't broken yet, but we tested the support. We will see how that goes. But my lean would be that we're just basically doing a rally before a move down on TLT and forming bull flags on the other. We'll see whether I'm right on this inflection point on bonds that we're looking at now. Now, oil's dropped quite a bit, and I have to say I'm working on a post on that, and I've been thinking very, very hard about this one. This has been a very, very unusual oil crisis. We never made, and normally oil crises tend to be pretty much front loaded. As soon as there's a suspicion there might be a serious shortage and some reason to think so, oil prices spike up very, very high, much, much higher than they went in this instance. Now, obviously, oil is, I mean, someone said to me at the start of this conflict, what would have happened if this Iran war had happened in 20 years? And I said, and they closed the Strait of Hormuz, and I said, well, honestly, I'm not sure anyone would care. And that's because we're at a very important turning point here, where oil and wind are now the cheapest sources of power. Anyone can install them. And actually, they didn't even need nuclear as backup. I was thinking you were going to need nuclear as the backup to provide continuous power. But actually, it appears that that's going to be done with batteries, which have come down hugely, and the technology's got a lot better. So really, it's all about solar and wind. But we're not at a stage where that's actually pulled down the demand for oil significantly. We're at a turning point for the first time last year in America and in the world. New wind and solar capacity exceeded the increase in demand. That's an important turning point, but it's only the beginning of the end for fossil fuels. It's not the end. So I don't think, and I still don't think that's made a significant impact on oil demand. Although obviously oil is not as crucial and fossil fuels aren't as crucial as they have been in the past. The question is, how much has the closure of the Strait of Hormuz affected the oil markets? Now, Trump is saying that they were actually sneaking out about half the normal traffic of the Strait of Hormuz every night. I don't believe that for a second. I don't think that's remotely credible, but China's demand certainly went down, I suspect, where they built up very high reserves over the last couple of years, and I think they've been drawing some of those down, and certainly there were some workarounds in terms of taking stuff out by alternative means and alternative routes. So, and there was talk that obviously the amount that oil had gone up had destroyed a fair amount of demand. I really don't believe that one. That's really not to match what we've seen in the past, but certainly since this deal has been made, and somewhat beforehand, this has dropped a lot. Basically, we've seen a 20% decline here in Brent crude, and I've got a couple of things to say about that. One, I think it's an overreaction. I don't think we're going an awful lot lower, if we are going lower at all. Two, I've now got, last night I had 60-minute buy signals fixed on HO and I think on RBOB. Yes, I did. We've now got 60-minute buy signals fixed on Brent and CL as well. I'm looking for a rally here. I'm thinking for $20. We may well rally 10. I'm watching for a reversal pattern to form, looking at a couple of potential inverted shoulder necklines. This one here could be interesting up in about the 83.50 area, which could suggest a larger rally. But we will see how that goes, but I am expecting to see short-term a big rally. Longer term, well, there's big question marks about this deal. It requires some putting down of arms on the part of Israel, who at the moment are basically refusing to do so, and even actually we're talking about the possibility that they might go to war with the US in the future, which was dangerous words, really. But we may well see a lot of roadblocks on the path for full implementation here. And actually, at the minimum, it does appear very, very strongly that the Iran have been left in control of the Strait of Hormuz. They're not going to be charging tolls, but they are going to be charging fees. What's the difference between tolls and fees? Not a great deal. So we will see how that goes, but I am at least looking for a sizable rally here. And I'm thinking we're probably going to see a rally of about $10 or so from the lows, and we will see how that develops. It may be more than that. I'm watching for reversal patterns. I don't have any divergence on the daily chart, and we could see a rally and then a retest of these lows to set up divergence on the daily chart. But at the moment, we've got hourly buy signals. I've got those on the RTH charts as well, and they're looking pretty good. I think the rally is beginning. All right, CL, we got 60-minute buy signal as well. HO, we got a 60-minute buy signal as well. RBOB, we got a 60-minute buy signal as well. NG is still rallying. I've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing here, but we've seen a strong rally here. This has got back over the monthly pivot. This might just be a back test of the monthly pivot. So watching this with interest, but this has been a stronger rally than I thought it might be. I am reminded, as I mentioned, I think in the last webinar, that we are in a seasonally bullish, modestly, period for NG. We shall see. Against that, this is a likely bear flag, and it has broken down. So after this rally, I'm wondering about a retest of this low here in the 2.89 area. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger picture. And right, the other thing to say here is that mostly on the RTH charts, we've got these buy signals as well, and these are stronger buy signals by a bit. But we've got RSI 14 buy signal fixed on Brent. On the hourly chart, we've got another one on WTIC, or we've got another one on. We've got an RSI 14 buy signal that's trying to fix at the moment on heating oil, and on gas oil, we don't have any divergence at the moment. So we'll see whether we get that, but it doesn't really matter. And we've got one on the futures already. In terms of the daily charts, we've got, hang on, no current positive divergence, but if we see a rally and a retest, we could well see that. What I would note also is that on Brent, we've reached the 200 DMA, which is 78.15, and we are bouncing off that at the moment. In terms of WTIC, WTIC on the daily chart, we've got the daily middle band at 73.53, and the low overnight was at 74.59, so pretty close to a test. Wondering if it might come down a little more and give us that test, but it doesn't need to. But I am wondering about retest of this low from here. On HO, the 200 DMA is at 2.91. We haven't got close to that yet, and no positive divergence. But on all of these, if we see a rally that lasts a day or two and a retest, then we can get daily buy signals as well. In terms of gas oil, we've already got an RSI 5 buy signal fixed, and we've not failed that yet. We will see how this goes. This has been the strongest at the moment. We do have targets on bigger picture targets down from here, but I'm thinking we'll see a rally, and then we will see what happens. I'm seeing two radically different pictures on oil here, and it matters a lot which one of those is right. I'm still leaning towards the overall bullish picture, and I'm seeing oil turbulence that goes on for months from here. But I could be wrong about that. So I'm watching and absorbing more information as quickly as I can. In the short term, I'm looking for a rally. All right, so in terms of natural gas, on the daily chart, no current divergence apart from the RSI 5 sell signal, which is fixed and not made target yet. We're seeing a bit of a rally. We've still got resistance at the 200 DMA, and I've got that currently in about 3.4 area. If we see a retest of this high, then that may well be setting up the second high of a double top. What would that look like on the hourly chart? Well, it wouldn't look like the second high of a double top, but the retest of the second high would be up here. So we shall see how that goes. All right, great. Let's have a look at precious metals. GC. This looks like a little flag forming, but we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed, and it is not alone. On SI, we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed. On palladium, we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed. And on platinum, we've got a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing. I'm thinking we might see a bit of a pullback here. I'm wondering about a possible retest of the lows, but you can see here on gold that clearly I'm wondering about a possible inverted head and shoulders forming here. And I think we may well have an inverted head and shoulders forming here. We shall see. So if that's the case, I'd be looking for a modest retracement. We will see what the sell signal delivers, but I would say that we're looking at sell signals across the board, and actually on GDX, on the hourly charts, we're looking at sell signals brewing on those too. So I'm looking for at least a bit of a pullback. If that extends, then maybe retest the lows, but I am leaning much more bullish here. What I was thinking might need to happen before we saw the retest of the all-time highs on gold and silver has already happened. So that's behind us now, and I'm not seeing any particular reason to think this shouldn't be going up. In terms of platinum, 60-minute sell signal brewing there, looking for a reversal pattern, wondering about a possible retest of the low. We have a little double top here. We shall see. HG, modest rally here with equities, forming a bear flag with a likely bull flag, I think, with equities. We shall see. But I'm wondering about a retest of the high there. Looking at the bigger picture on those, on gold, no divergence on the daily chart. Could we get some? No, not on the RSI 5. We could get some on the RSI 14, but we don't tend to see signals there. There's not a compelling case for a retest of the low, but it is a possibility. I'm looking for a reversal pattern here, and the alternative is that we've got an inverted head and shoulder neckline potentially in the 45.95 area. Would that be as nice of a reversal pattern? No, it wouldn't. It would be oversized. So really, classically, ideally, we would retest the low. I'm just not seeing an awful lot of signs that that's about to happen. Silver. Nice little rally here too. We've already got a double bottom here, so we could see another retest of the low here, but we've already got a beautiful pattern to set up a retest of the high. Have we quite made the retest of this low here? We didn't quite make it on the spot price, and if we were to see another retest of the low, that would give us potentially a better looking double bottom. In terms of palladium, nice little rally, has broken over declining resistance. Platinum, nice little rally, hasn't broken over declining resistance yet. Again, retest of the lows could give us some positive divergence, and we will see whether we get that. But that wouldn't give us any positive divergence on the daily chart on palladium. We've already gone through the obvious levels. All right, looking at copper. Copper, I'm still wondering about a possible retest of the high. We do have a weak RSI 14 sell signal, which is fixed. GDX, not a lot to say apart from a possible RSI 14 sell signals brewing and RSI 5 sell signals brewing on the hourly chart on GDX and on GDXJ. And I'm thinking those may well develop into sell signals and deliver us a bit of a retracement. We've got little level tops here, so we shall see. That's not indicating a retest of the last big lows, but it is a possibility we should consider. All right, let's have a look at the other commodities and KC. KC. Very nice rally here, no current negative divergence, but this has gone significantly beyond where I was looking at, and it's actually gone through the monthly pivot, and it's trying to convert that into support at the moment. That needs to be respected. I'll talk more about that on the daily chart, but this is a rally. All right, SB. SB, I'm wondering about potential bottoming action here. We will see. I'm quite liking a rally setup here, but at the moment it's not been delivering. If this goes much lower, then I'm looking for a retest of this low here in the 1380 area. In terms of CC, we are going away from the head and shoulder target here. That head and shoulders doesn't fail unless we get over this high here, which is about the 4570 area. Possible, but we shall see. This could overall be a bull flag or a triangle, but it's not particularly a nice example of either. In terms of lumber, this has gone impressively high, and I'm wondering if it might go a bit higher. 60-minute sell signal is fixed, and if we didn't already have one, well, if we didn't already have one here, we would have one here. That hasn't reconfirmed to the downside yet, but I'm still thinking of some retracement is probably in order. On CT, we've broken up over declining resistance, possible 60-minute sell signal fixed on wheat. The wheat, we've broken up from a little level bottom and with a target in the 628 to 630 range. Tiny bit of negative divergence, which we may be about to lose. Corn has broken up over declining resistance. Soy, this wasn't really a double bottom. But we've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed, wondering about a possible reversal pattern forming. If so, I'm wondering about a retest of the low. On ZL, trying to break down from a head and shoulders with a target in the 65.50 area. Live cattle, was looking for a retest of this high. We're getting pretty close to that. I've got that up at about the 251.5 area. And HE, HE looking at potential bottoming action here. 60-minute buy signal fixed, but hasn't really delivered a lot so far. All right, let's have a look at those on the bigger pictures. And all right, coffee. Coffee, we've seen a strong rally here, and we've broken over this declining resistance trend line, which was actually a pretty nice one. I'm leaning towards seeing a larger rally here, and I'm noting that we're pretty close to a potential inverted head and shoulder neckline. In terms of sugar, we've got well, basically, we've got a falling wedge here. We haven't broken up from it yet. We don't have a decent looking double bottom yet. I'm wondering about a retest of this low here at 13.34, but I'm thinking that the wedge is telling us we're likely to see a reasonable rally fairly soon. In terms of cocoa, still wondering about a breakdown to retest this low here at 2846. In the meantime, short term, I'm wondering about a retest of this high here at 4772 area. If we see that, that may well be the second high of a double top. Lumber, I'm thinking we've obviously broken over this declining resistance here. I am wondering about a possible rising wedge here, in which case we might see a significant move further and higher. We're looking very overbought on the RSI 14 and RSI 5, and I'm thinking we're due a retrace soon. That retrace could then retest the high and set up some decent daily sell signals. Looking at cotton, we're trying to break up. We've got a nice looking little level bottom here, setting up a potential retest of the high, and we could do that. On wheat, seeing a bit of a rally, back testing the daily middle band at the moment, watching that to see if we can get back over. On corn, we're seeing a bit of a rally, nowhere near the daily middle band at the moment. Did we get some divergence here? Yes, we've got a very weak RSI 5 buy signal. I haven't bothered marking it in, and I probably won't. In terms of the hang on one second. All right, okay. In terms of the soy chart, on the daily chart, we've got a weak RSI 5 buy signal fixed. We've seen a nice rally. We're back over the daily middle band. That's interesting. Odd artifact on my chart. Okay, something odd happening with my stock charts there. Seems to have mapped one of the signals into the background. All right, we've got a weak 60-minute buy signal fix that hasn't reached the possible near miss target yet. All right, let's have a look at crypto. So, all right, looking at Bitcoin, we are at the moment testing the daily middle band, and at the moment we are not managing to get much above it, although we have managed to get above it. In terms of the hourly chart, wondering about a possible retest of the lows. No current negative divergence though. Is this looking like a flag? This could be a flag, but I wasn't really expecting it to break over the daily middle band, and I'm still wondering about that. Looking at Solana, we've seen a fairly strong break over the daily middle band, although it's back tested at the moment. Short term, this looks like a little bull flag forming. Bigger picture, this could be a bear flag forming, although this has been a bit of a vigorous move to the upside and doesn't look as much like a flag as I would like it to. Short term, this does look like a little bull flag setting up a retest of this high here at 76.04, and that would match with a move up into the all-time high retests on SPX and the Qs. Looking at Ethereum, Ethereum is trying to break back over the daily middle band and looking as though it might succeed in converting it to support. We are currently above that, I think. No, marginally below it, but basically we're on it. In the short term, I'm wondering about a little bull flag forming here too, setting up a retest of this high here at 1848.18. Does this look like a bear flag? It looks like a possible bear flag, but I would like to see a test of the rising support on the flag to give us a little more confirmation that it is a flag. We shall see how that goes. All right, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap. Everyone take care, and I'll catch you guys again on Sunday. All right, cheers.